Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because I'm going to be doing a collaboration with Millie from Bad to the Brow. I absolutely love her channel and her Instagram as well, so I will have both linked down below so you can check her out. She does a lot of looks and she does really in-depth comparisons for different like multi-chromes and single shadows for indie brands. I really think if you like my content, you will also like hers. I feel like a lot of times she provides a unique perspective because she works in graphic design. You might have actually heard me talk about her in the past because she was the one who designed my merch. If you've ever seen, I actually have a shirt on hand right now, so my little Proud Makeup Lover merch. Don't look at the weird tag, but she designed it. She did both the designs and she did an amazing job. She was so great to work with. So she came up with this concept. All credits to her because I'm literally the worst at coming up with things for collabs, but she had this idea and I thought it was really, really great. So today we're going to both be doing a full face of products that we like but wouldn't repurchase. So it's really just focusing on those in-between products, which I think get neglected a lot on YouTube. It's like, let's talk about our favorites or let's talk about the things we hate, and we just don't really talk about the just in-betweens. I know Samantha March in her makeup monthly videos does like a just okay category, which I think is really cool and I appreciate because it's just, like I said, it's it's an underrated category because I think we all have a lot of products where it's like, yeah, I like it, but am I crazy about it? Would I want to spend the money on it again? Not really. So it did take me a few minutes going through my entire collection. I was like pulling through each drawer and I had to really think about it. Some were like super obvious reasons and some were like, it's just okay, like it's fine, but it's not like something I would like miss. Like if this disappeared from my collection, it would probably take me a few months to realize, kind of thing. I obviously already did my brows off camera, and I guess if I was thinking really hard, I could find a brow product that I like but wouldn't repurchase, but I feel like doing brows on camera is so boring and time consuming, and brow products are just kind of boring to me. So let's move on. Alright, so for primer, I have the Ofra Northern Lights primer, which I actually did receive through Octoly. So this one was PR. And when I originally got it, I was super excited about it. I'm going to go ahead and do a good pump worth of product, and I'm going to put it all over my face. I do like that this is more of a glowy, hydrating primer. I like it enough to use it, but I feel like it's not the most hydrating primer that I have. I have other ones that I prefer more. I prefer my Becca one. I feel like that one's more hydrating, and even beyond that, like if I had to choose one, I would choose my Glossier. I feel like I'm super picky about primers. Like I use what I have. It's not like I get rid of them if I don't like immediately fall in love. But this one just adds like a tiny little bit of glow, which isn't my exact personal preference. I'm like, the glowier the better, like the more the merrier, the more glow the merrier. That doesn't even make sense, but it's okay, you get what I'm saying. Okay, for foundation today, I have another PR product. I promise not all of these are PR, but this one is from Il Makiage, and this is their Woke Up Like This foundation in the shade 005. I do like this, and I think it can be a pretty foundation whenever it's used over a really hydrating base. And also if I don't go in with too much product. I feel like that's the thing with this, is if you use just a little bit too much, it's too cakey for my liking. So I feel like I have to be kind of careful with it, which I don't really love. Also, my packaging broke, so like every time I have to like sit here and fuss in order to get the top off. But anyways, like I said, I only use like one pump, and I would not go beyond that because I really, really don't want to get cakey. I've been enjoying this with a brush actually, so I use the e.l.f. Little Ultimate Blending Brush, and the first thing I do is kind of dot that all over the face and just evenly distribute it. I didn't use this for a while. I got it, I reviewed it, and then I kind of just wasn't really thinking about it a whole lot, but I saw an Instagram ad and the girl, like, she had like her normal skin and then she did this and it was like perfect skin, and I'm pretty sure that some type of filter was used to achieve that look. Like the filter was turned on as she started blending the foundation into her skin. But either way, I wanted to go ahead and give it a chance. That must have been a few weeks ago and I've been using it since then, but like I said, I feel like it's just that like super fine line between like getting a nice kind of semi matte finish. It's definitely more of a natural finish. It doesn't add a lot of glow, which is probably why I prefer it with a super glowy primer. So I'm kind of already setting it up for failure today. You guys see this cut on my forehead? I don't know, I'm the worst. I think my nails were a little bit too long and I literally cut my hand like yesterday, and then this morning I woke up with a cut on my forehead, so I went ahead and did my nails and like trimmed them down and used the nail file and everything because I keep, like, that's ridiculous. So yeah, I like the foundation. It's fine. I will keep using it, but I won't repurchase it. And also, it is so stinking expensive. That's like another reason. If this was a drugstore foundation, then I might be like, maybe, like, possibly, like, it's okay. Like, I could somewhat consider repurchasing this if it was like $10 or less. But the fact that I'm pretty sure it's like a $40 foundation, not for me. Not at all. There's so many other foundations I like more that I would rather spend the money on. So next for concealer, I have the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, and I have the shade Cloud. I wanted to love this concealer so much, and I don't. I just like it. It's just okay to me. I feel like, for one, it's not my shade exactly. It's just a little bit too light, but the next shade up is a little bit too dark, and I'm just like not willing to sit there and combine two different concealers all the time for underneath my eyes. I feel like it's just too much, more work than I'm willing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just use a little bit of product, nothing too crazy. Actually, should have wet my sponge, but I didn't. I'm gonna use some mist and like make my sponge a little bit wet. Lazy girl hacks. I feel like whenever I purchased this, I was hoping to have like a concealer that had a really nice kind of in between, like a little bit dewy finish, but for it to still have like a decent amount of coverage. And I just feel like it doesn't cover enough for me. I don't know if you can tell. Like, I don't know if you see like that, like my dark circles completely come through it still. And maybe that's just because it is so light. I definitely prefer using a corrector underneath this. So for those reasons, that's why I wouldn't repurchase it. It's not my favorite concealer. I'm super picky about concealer, I think. But also, it's not the worst concealer I've ever used either. I think it's good. It's good enough to use up. It's not super cakey. It doesn't like crease a ton. It doesn't do anything crazy underneath my eyes or wherever I use it, but it's just not a favorite either. I feel like my base looks fine, but I feel like I just need a little bit more coverage underneath the eyes. I don't know. I feel like I'm forever on the hunt of finding that perfect concealer that is hydrating and not creasing, because I feel like sometimes hydrating automatically equals super creasing. I'm okay with a little bit of creasing, but not a ton. I would prefer if it would set itself, but I also need that coverage, but also not so much coverage that it becomes cakey. So it's like that perfect in between. So yeah, I like it. I will use it. Not in love with it. All right, so to set my face, I have the Makeup Revolution Luxury Baking Powder in the shade Ghost. I actually have this in the loose form and the pressed form. I would be more likely to repurchase the pressed form, but I feel like I got this and I was intrigued by it because it was a powder and it was super white, hence the shade Ghost. I need a brush. Oh gosh. Oh man. I just like poured like half the bottle in the cap. Okay, go back. I just need a tiny bit. Okay, so I tried to just do a tiny little bit in the cap. I don't really love the packaging, for one, and I feel like it's okay, but I have to go in with just a tiny little bit. So it's not my favorite. I feel like there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just if I had to choose between this one and other powders, like I would 100% repurchase the RCMA powder before I repurchased this one. So I'm just going to lightly set underneath my eyes and then just a little bit on like the center of my face, but nothing crazy. I don't even know why I set the center of my face. I feel like it's just habit. Because I have dry skin. What am I doing? Alright, so now jumping into bronzer. This was definitely the hardest category for me to choose. I looked at all my bronzers multiple times and I'm like, I don't know, because I like you all. I feel like all my bronzers are pretty good. I feel like I've gotten pretty knowledgeable about choosing bronzers that are good for my skin tone. I normally wait and hear reviews on them first before I purchase them. It's not something I run out to try and be the first in line for, is bronzers. So it was hard to decide, and the way I did it was just looking at my bronzers, thinking about the favorites that I have and which one I would be the least likely to repurchase, and I decided upon the Milani Sunlight bronzing powder and it says Silky Matte. I don't even know. It's this bronzer here. It is fine. It's just I feel like sometimes it's a little bit pigmented. I like to be able to be more like free and just like throw my bronzer on and not have to worry with going in with too much. So sometimes I feel like I have to be a little bit more careful with this one. I think the tone is nice. I think it's okay to blend. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just that I like my Balm bronzer more. I like my Fenty bronzer more. I like my Kevyn Aucoin glowy bronzer. I like my Essence bronzer, which is actually a highlighter, but I use it as a bronzer. I like all of them more than I like this one. So it's like, obviously I would repurchase those over this one. So I'm just going to go ahead, take my bronzing brush, pick up a little bit of product, and throw that on my cheeks. It's really not a bad product or anything. Obviously, that's the whole point of this video. It's okay. I like it. Alright, so jumping into eyes, I have another product from Ofra, and this is their eye gel primer, which I don't know if you can tell. I've actually used quite a bit of this, and I'm like a good like 2/3 of the way through. I do like this. It's just a clear primer, and it does a good job. It works well as an eye primer. The thing about this is I just feel like I can get the same exact thing for cheaper. I feel like the formula is very similar to the Milani eyeshadow primer. I feel like it's similar to the Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. It's just that more sheer, lighter eyeshadow primer, and I don't normally go for this as much. I prefer something with some base to it, but when I do want an eyeshadow primer like this, I just feel like if I were to repurchase one and run out, I would probably go for the more affordable option just because it does the exact same thing. I do like that this one has the wand and everything. I did receive this as PR also. I got it through Octoly, just to be transparent, but gonna go ahead and pick up a little bit of that and throw it on my eyes, basically, and then I just blend it in with my fingers. So it's super easy. Nothing bad to say about it. It's just I feel like I could get the same exact thing for less. So jumping into an eyeshadow palette, I went back and forth on whether to talk about this or not, just because I was like, I don't know, like there's other things I could use, why give it attention? But at the same time, there's never been a video that fit more like this category than this palette. Like I just feel like they were made for each other, especially in this moment in time. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to talk about the Jaclyn Hill Original palette with Morphe. I would even say that I love this, but would I repurchase it? No. Here's what it looks like. And unfortunately, recently it's come out that this palette was reformulated and like no one knew about it. They didn't announce it, which I'm sure brands do all the time. But they added carmine in the formula, which is not vegan friendly. And I feel like that just sucks because I'm not vegan, but the times that I have looked for vegan like information about palettes and stuff, it's literally already so annoying to find. Like every time I look it up, I feel so like much like just annoyedness for people who are vegan and have to do that all the time and like search out answers, and like brands aren't very like straightforward about it. And then I'm sure people are looking it up and it's like all the information coming from every person who's ever reviewed this ever is like, yeah, it's cruelty free and vegan, and then they change it and it's like super low-key and they don't tell anyone or announce it. I feel like that's a major formula change. So I was just kind of blown away by the whole situation, and I would not recommend repurchasing this. I would not recommend purchasing it at all now just because it's different, and I think that it's shady, like super shady. I feel like I've kind of calmed down. I used to feel super passionate about issues in the beauty community, but I feel like this one really hit a nerve with me because it's like you're literally making people compromise their morals because you couldn't just say, hey, we changed the formula and now it's not vegan. Like, just be straight up about it. It's sad because this was like one of my favorite palettes for a while, and the quality was really, really good as is. It's like, why fix something that's not broken? I don't know. But I think I'm just gonna do like a neutral eye today, like just something soft and bronzy because I haven't done anything like that in a while. And I think I'm gonna start off with this lighter brown right here. So I would be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on the situation if you've been keeping up. I literally only watched one video about it, which was Jen Loves Reviews video, because like I don't have time to keep up with all the drama anymore. Like life is busy. I don't know how I used to keep up with it. I must have had more free time on my hands or something, but I watched enough to know that I was unhappy about it, so it's a shame because the original palette is literally so good. Like, it just blends so well and so easy. So frustrating. Why? Why? I don't know. I feel like I'm like angry blending. Like, why? Why did they change it? I'm also just gonna go ahead and take that shade along my lower lash line. I think now I'm gonna go ahead and take this brown right here. Just taking that on a little bit of a smaller brush, throwing that in my outer V. And just going back in with my previous brush and blending that out a little bit more. I think I'm gonna go in with one more deeper matte brown. Maybe I'll use this one right here. Again, just taking that on my outer V. Also gonna go ahead and take a little bit of that shade on the lower lash line. Alright, so my soft look got dramatic fast. Raise your hand if you're surprised. No one raised their hand. I think I'm gonna go into this kind of bronzy gold shade right here. And I'm just gonna pick that up on my finger. And I'm gonna put that all over the lid. Alright, last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead and take this shade right here as my inner corner highlight. Really, really pretty neutral inner corner highlight. I'm gonna take whatever's left over on my brush and just lightly highlight underneath my brow bone. Alrighty, so there is the finished eye look. Man, I really like this palette. It's so annoying. Okay, moving on. I don't really have any eyeliners that I like but wouldn't repurchase, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pop something in my waterline. This one just happens to be an Appeal gel liner in the shade Deep Taupe. Why am I like this? Deep Taupe. Next we have mascara, and this is super easy. I didn't even have to think twice before I chose this. This is the Maybe Cosmetics Hidden Talent Mascara, and I did receive this as PR. I've been testing it out over the last few weeks, and it's an okay mascara. I like it. I like it enough to use it occasionally and to use it on my lower lashes. The thing is, though, is that this mascara is waterproof, and it is so hard to get off. I'm talking like literally using makeup remover, using makeup wipes, using micellar cleanser water, using makeup melt off. Like, this mascara does not want to come off my eyelashes, and I feel like because of that I end up losing eyelashes because I'm trying so hard to get this off. So I'm not a big fan. Again, like I said, I prefer using it on my lower lashes. They're literally marketing it as a natural mascara and something that's not too crazy. For me, that's kind of like not my style. I want my lashes to look more than what they are because I don't have a lot of lashes. If you have natural lashes, well, I mean, I guess everyone has natural lashes. If you have naturally long lashes, you might like this. If you like more of like a simple look and you feel like other mascaras just go bam on you, which is like what a fabulous problem to have, but that's not the case for me. There is one coat. Alright, for blush today, I went ahead and chose the Anastasia Blush Trio in the shade Peachy Love. I like this blush palette. It's pretty. It's peachy. I like the tones of it. The thing is, I feel like I never ever reach for this. I just haven't gotten that much use out of it. When I use it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty. But I feel like when I go into my drawer of blushes, I typically reach for the same things a lot of the time, and most of the time I reach for single blushes. I don't really reach for trios or palettes as much, so this kind of gets neglected, and because of that, I feel like I'm glad I have it. I like it. It's pretty. The blushes are nice, but I don't think I would repurchase it. And again, it's one of those things, it's like if it went missing in my collection, it'd probably take me a little bit to remember. So I think for today's look, I'm kind of indecisive on whether to go like super peachy or to go more muted. I think I'm gonna go super peachy, actually. We'll take the most peachy. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna like mix all of them together. Is that like weird? That's a lot of blush, okay. Maybe that's how I'll get more use out of it. I'll just like mix them all together and like make my brain think it's a single. That's a lot of blush, okay. That's fine. Oh my goodness. Well, I did that. Okay, so yep. And then for highlighter, I decided to talk about the Pixi Glowy Gossamer Duo. I went ahead and pulled this one out, which is Subtle Sunrise. This was the one I like the most because I really like the lighter highlighter, but I feel like even though I really like the lighter highlighter, I don't think I would repurchase this because I have other highlighters I like equally as much as this one, and this one I sometimes use as a blush topper, but I just don't reach for it very much. It's been a while since I pulled it out, and I know I like it. I know it's pretty, but the fact that there's two here, I don't know, I just feel like I'm wasting my money by buying something that I don't use that often. If it was this one by itself, I would be more about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip into that golden shade and put that on the tops of my cheekbones. Man, see, it's so pretty. But I just feel like between all the highlighters that I have, it just would not be very high up on my repurchasing list. Or maybe I just need to pull it out more. I don't know. I'm undecided. It is really pretty. I do have a setting spray to talk about, and this is the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I've actually mentioned this before about how I like it, but I wouldn't buy it again. I feel like it's a good setting spray. It works, but I don't really like how fine of a mist it is. I prefer something that I can feel. I feel like I overuse the product just because I can't feel it as much. Also, I feel like it's gigantic. Like, it's just like so much for like a setting spray to be like, it's just big. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the spray because I just don't like how fine it is, which I know is like the opposite problem. Most people don't like how heavy sprays are, which I don't really love either. Again, I want that perfect in between. I'm kind of picky about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and set my face with that. Alright, last but not least, for lips, I have the Urban Decay lip gloss, and this is their Hi-Fi Shine in the shade Midnight Cowgirl, and I do really like the shade. I feel like it's a very nice kind of neutral, almost a little bit peachy, but it's kind of sheer, nude. It's just really beautiful on the lips. The reason I don't super love this is because it does have a little bit of a minty feeling to it, and it also tends to sometimes like give me that like white line, which I don't really love. I can deal with it. It's not like the worst thing in the world. It's not a reason why I would like never wear a lip gloss again or anything, but it does make it not my favorite. And I think I judge it a little bit more harshly because it is a high-end lip gloss. I rarely purchase high-end lip glosses. I think this one was like $20 or something. So for me, it's like I want it to be really, really good based on the price tag because there's so many nice glosses from ColourPop and e.l.f. And for this less than this, I could have got a Fenty gloss, and those are the best. So because of that, I would not repurchase this, even though I do like the color. See how pretty it is? It's just a really nice shine. Alright, y'all, so this is the finished look, and I do like how it turned out. I feel like it's been a while since I did like just a classic kind of sultry bronze smoky eye, so that's fun to switch it up, do super warm cheeks, glossy lips, kind of like, I don't know, it's a moment. But I was curious to see how this video would end up being because it's like so many products that are just okay ending up together. Like, is it gonna be a good look? I don't know. I wasn't sure what to expect with the final outcome. And I think that like my actual base makeup could definitely look better just because I used not the most hydrating primer, not the most hydrating foundation. I used not my like least cakey powder ever, so I feel like altogether it could look better. The setting spray helped, but also it's not bad. It's just okay, just like all the products I talked about. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. I thought it was super fun to film and to think about. I'd love to know what products you have in your collection that you like but you would not repurchase. And like I said in the beginning, definitely go ahead and check out Millie. I really love her channel. Highly recommend her. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.